Hi everyone! Welcome back to our podcast where we explore smart ways to master English speaking skills. I'm Lucy.
And I'm Mark. Today we're going to share 50 practical tips to help you improve your English speaking abilities. Let's dive right in.
Tip number 1. Practice speaking every day. The more you use English in conversation, the more comfortable you will become.
Absolutely. Tip number 2. Engage in conversations with native speakers whenever possible. This will help you understand natural speech patterns.
Tip 3. Use language learning apps that focus on speaking. These apps often have features that allow you to practice pronunciation and dialogue.
Tip number 4. Watch English movies and TV shows. Pay attention to how the actors speak and try to mimic their pronunciation and intonation.
Tip 5. Listen to English podcasts and audiobooks. This will help you improve your listening skills and understand different accents.
Tip 6. Join an English-speaking club or group. This will give you regular opportunities to practice speaking in a supportive environment.
Tip 7. Record yourself speaking English. Listening to the recordings can help you identify areas for improvement.
Tip 8. Practice speaking in front of a mirror. This can help you become more aware of your facial expressions and body language.
Tip 9. Read aloud from books, articles, or any other material in English. This helps improve your pronunciation and fluency.
Tip 10. Learn new vocabulary words every day and use them in sentences. This will expand your vocabulary and make your speech more varied.
Tip 11. Use flashcards to remember new words and phrases. Review them regularly to reinforce your memory.
Tip 12. Focus on learning phrases and expressions rather than just individual words. This makes your speech sound more natural.
Tip 13. Practice speaking in different contexts. For example, practice ordering food in a restaurant, making small talk, or giving directions.
Tip 14. Use online language exchange platforms to find speaking partners from around the world.
Tip 15. Take part in English-speaking webinars or online courses. These often include interactive elements that require you to speak.
Tip 16. Write down new words and phrases you hear in conversations and look them up later.
Tip 17. Set specific goals for your speaking practice, such as having a 5-minute conversation in English every day.
Tip 18. Use a dictionary to check the pronunciation of new words.
Tip 19. Practice tongue twisters. They are fun and can help improve your pronunciation and fluency.
Tip 20. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Making mistakes is a natural part of learning.
Tip 21. Find a mentor or tutor who can give you feedback and guidance.
Tip 22. Participate in role-playing activities. This can help you practice speaking in different situations.
Tip 23. Keep a journal in English. Write about your day, thoughts and experiences.
Tip 24. Use English subtitles when watching foreign films.
Tip 25. Listen to English songs and try to sing along.
Tip 26. Practice speaking with a friend who is also learning English. You can motivate each other.
Tip 27. Engage in online forums or social media groups where English is the primary language.
Tip 28. Watch YouTube videos that teach English speaking skills.
Tip 29. Learn to think in English rather than translating from your native language.
Tip 30. Use mobile apps to practice speaking and listening while on the go.
Tip 31. Attend English speaking events or meetups in your area.
Tip 32. Practice storytelling. Try to tell a story in English focusing on clear and engaging delivery.
Tip 33. Use a thesaurus to learn synonyms and expand your vocabulary.
Tip 34. Practice pronunciation drills. Focus on difficult sounds and practice them repeatedly.
Tip 35. Use shadowing technique. Listen to a sentence and immediately repeat it to practice pronunciation and intonation.
Tip 36. Read news articles in English and discuss them with a friend.
Tip 37. Practice speaking on a variety of topics to build a broad vocabulary.
Tip 38. Learn and practice using idioms and colloquial expressions.
Tip 39. Take notes of interesting phrases and try to use them in your conversations.
Tip 40. Participate in English-speaking workshops or courses.
Tip 41. Watch interviews with English speakers and practice mimicking their answers.
Tip 42. Use virtual reality or language learning games that focus on speaking.
Tip 43. Learn about the culture of English-speaking countries to understand context and usage better.
Tip 44, speak with confidence. Believe in your ability to communicate effectively.
Tip 45, practice summarising articles or videos in English.
Tip 46, learn to use connectors and linking words to make your speech more cohesive.
Tip 47, use visual aids like flashcards or diagrams to learn and remember new vocabulary.
Tip 48, focus on fluency before accuracy. It's okay to make mistakes as long as you're communicating.
Tip 49, engage in debates or discussions to practice forming arguments and expressing opinions.
And finally, tip 50, enjoy the process. Make learning English fun and rewarding.
Those are our 50 smart ways to master speaking English skills. Now, let's highlight 5 vocabulary words from our conversation today. Pronunciation, the way in which a word is pronounced. Sentence, practice your pronunciation to ensure people understand you clearly. Fluency, the ability to speak or write a language easily and accurately. Sentence, achieving fluency in English takes consistent practice. Intonation, the rise and fall of the voice in speaking. Sentence, pay attention to intonation to convey the right emotions in your speech. Idioms, phrases that have a meaning different from the meanings of the individual words. Sentence, learning idioms can make your English sound more natural. Synonyms, words that have similar meanings. Sentence, using synonyms can help you expand your vocabulary and avoid repetition.
And now for a brief grammar lesson. Let's talk about conditional sentences. These sentences describe a situation and its possible outcome.
Right. There are 3 main types of conditional sentences. The first conditional talks about real and possible situations.
For example, if it rains, we will cancel the picnic. Here the condition is if it rains, and the result is we will cancel the picnic.
The second conditional talks about hypothetical or unlikely situations.
For example, if I won the lottery, I would travel the world. This is an imagined situation and its result.
And the third conditional talks about past situations that did not happen.
For example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. This reflects on a past event and its imagined outcome.
Remember, practice using these different types of conditional sentences in your conversations to express various possibilities and outcomes.
Let's add some more depth to this. In the zero conditional, we talk about general truths or scientific facts.
Yes, like, if you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. This shows a cause and effect relationship that is always true.
Moving on to mixed conditionals, they are a combination of 2 different types of conditional sentences. For instance, if I had studied harder, I would be a doctor now.
That's right. This example combines the third conditional, past situation, with the second conditional, present result.
Another interesting structure is the use of wish in conditional sentences. For example, I wish I were taller. This expresses a desire for something that is not true in the present.
Similarly, if only can be used to express a wish or regret. For example, if only I had known about the meeting, I would have attended.
It's crucial to use these structures correctly to convey the right meaning. Practicing them in different contexts will make you more comfortable.
Let's give our listeners a small exercise. Try to make sentences using each type of conditional we've discussed today. This will help reinforce what you've learned.
Great idea, Lucy, and remember, practice makes perfect. The more you use these structures, the more natural they will become.
Let's add more practical advice for our listeners. Tip 51. Practice speaking with different people. This helps you get used to different accents and speaking styles.
Tip 52. Use apps that offer voice recognition to check your pronunciation. These apps provide instant feedback.
Tip 53. Learn to use phrasal verbs. They are common in everyday English and make your speech more natural.
Tip 54. Read plays or scripts and act them out. This is a fun way to practice speaking and understand dialogue.
Tip 55. Practice speaking about topics you are passionate about. This will make the practice more enjoyable and meaningful.
Tip 56. Use visualization techniques. Imagine a scenario and practice what you would say.
Tip 57. Engage in speaking drills. Focus on specific sounds or patterns that you find challenging.
Tip 58. Create a study schedule and stick to it. Consistency is key to improvement.
Tip 59. Use mind maps to organise your thoughts before speaking. This helps in structuring your speech.
Tip 60. Practice speaking at different speeds. This can help you find a natural pace and improve clarity.
Tip 61. Join online discussion groups or forums where English is spoken.
Tip 62. Watch TED Talks and try to summarize them in your own words.
Tip 63. Use speech recognition software to practice and improve your pronunciation.
Tip 64. Participate in online language challenges or competitions.
Tip 65. Practice giving presentations in English. This helps with public speaking skills and confidence.
Tip 66. Use a vocabulary journal to track new words and phrases you learn.
Tip 67. Practice speaking on the phone or via video calls. This can be more challenging than face-to-face conversation, but is great practice.
Tip 68. Take part in online courses that focus on speaking skills.
Tip 69. Learn to use metaphors and similes to make your speech more vivid and interesting.
Tip 70. Record your conversations and listen to them later to analyse your performance.
Tip 71. Engage in conversations about current events. This helps you stay informed and practice relevant vocabulary.
Tip 72. Use online pronunciation guides to learn the correct pronunciation of difficult words.
Tip 73. Read children's books aloud. They often use simple language and clear pronunciation.
Tip 74. Participate in language immersion programs if possible.
Tip 75. Use language learning software that focuses on speaking and listening.
Tip 76. Learn to use transition words to connect your ideas smoothly.
Tip 77. Practice speaking about a wide range of topics to broaden your vocabulary and knowledge.
Tip 78. Use online dictionaries with audio pronunciations to check difficult words.
Tip 79. Engage in storytelling. Create stories in English and share them with friends.
Tip 80. Practice speaking in different tenses. This helps you become more versatile in conversation.
Tip 81. Use online quizzes to test your vocabulary and grammar knowledge.
Tip 82. Engage in casual conversation with friends or family members who speak English.
Tip 83. Participate in online language exchange programs.
Tip 84. Use mnemonic devices to remember new words and phrases.
Tip 85. Practice summarising books or articles you read in English.
Tip 86. Use online flashcard apps to study vocabulary on the go.
Tip 87. Participate in online forums and comment on posts in English.
Tip 88. Learn to use different intonation patterns to convey different meanings.
Tip 89. Practice speaking about hypothetical scenarios.
Tip 90. Use role-playing games to practice speaking in different situations.
Tip 91. Watch English language documentaries and practice summarising them.
Tip 92. Participate in online debates to practice forming arguments and expressing opinions.
Tip 93. Practice giving directions in English.
Tip 94. Use language learning websites that offer interactive speaking exercises.
Tip 95. Learn to use polite expressions and formal language for different contexts.
Tip 96. Practice speaking in different environments to get comfortable with various settings.
Tip 97. Use language learning blogs and forums to find tips and resources.
Tip 98. Engage in conversation with people from different English-speaking countries to understand different accents and dialects.
Tip 99. Practice speaking about abstract concepts to challenge your language skills.
And finally, tip 100. Never give up. Learning a new language is a journey that requires patience and persistence.
Those are our 100 smart ways to master speaking English skills. Now, let's revisit the 5 vocabulary words from our conversation today. Pronunciation, the way in which a word is pronounced. Sentence, practice your pronunciation to ensure people understand you clearly. Fluency, the ability to speak or write a language easily and accurately. Sentence, achieving fluency in English takes consistent practice. Intonation, the rise and fall of the voice in speaking. Sentence, pay attention to intonation to convey the right emotions in your speech. Idioms, phrases that have a meaning different from the meanings of the individual words. Sentence, learning idioms can make your English sound more natural. Synonyms, words that have similar meanings. Sentence, using synonyms can help you expand your vocabulary and avoid repetition.
And now for our grammar lesson. Today we'll talk about reported speech. This is when you tell someone else what another person said.
That's right. When using reported speech, the tense of the original statement often changes. For example, he says, "I am happy," becomes he said that he was happy.
Another example is changing questions. Where are you going? becomes she asked where I was going.
When reporting commands, we often use tell or ask. For instance, please sit down becomes he asked me to sit down.
And for yes and no questions, we use if or whether. Do you like coffee? Becomes she asked if I liked coffee.
It's important to remember these changes to maintain the correct meaning in reported speech.
Let's give our listeners a small exercise. Try to convert the following direct speech sentences into reported speech. I will call you later. Are you coming to the party? Don't forget to bring your book.
This will help reinforce what you've learned. Remember, practicing these structures will make them easier to use in everyday conversation.
Great idea, Lucy. And remember, practice makes perfect. The more you use these structures, the more natural they will become.
That wraps up today's episode. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to practice these tips, vocabulary words, and grammar lesson.
Yes, and if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. See you next time.